Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to LinkedIn Tuesdays. We're very glad you're with us this afternoon. It's October 24th, 2023. Please note this event is being recorded and is currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window will not appear in the recording. For those people on Zoom, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please just enter them into the chat window. For those watching on Facebook, just enter any questions you've got into the comment field. One of the things we'd love to see right now, if you want to open up the Zoom chat window, is tell us what city you're watching us from. Let us know where you're at, just so we have an idea. It's always interesting. I see a bunch of new names on here that I've never seen before. So if you'd like to, please put in the chat window where you're watching from. Also, this is LinkedIn. This is all about connecting with other people. If you want to put your information in the video in the chat window, tell us who you are, what you're looking for, give us a couple target companies, and put in your LinkedIn address. Connect with everybody else who's on the call today. Here's a great way to expand your connections. All right, well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2008, I started a website called careerdfw.org. A website to help those who are unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, I launched the second website, careerusa.org, to help those around the United States. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search that you may not know. It is available on Amazon, or if you see me in person, I always have copies with me. But I guess it'd be a little tough for Brian in Beaverton, Oregon. Who else is on here? Kathy from just north of Atlanta. Thank you for joining us. Louisville, Dallas, Frisco, Capel. Thank you, everybody who's joining us today. Since 2007, I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. This group's been around since the late 1990s. I took it over in 2007. And I'll tell you about it. We have a really interesting program coming up this Friday. So stay tuned. At the very end of this presentation, I'll tell you all about it. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team, also known as the PIT Group. Remember, your resume, your LinkedIn profile, they're not going to get you your next job. What they will get you is a phone call. How well you practice your interviewing skills, that's what's going to get you your next job. So we have four outstanding speakers who talk about LinkedIn. They rotate through on a monthly basis. They're always updating their stuff with some new things they throw in. Today, our speaker is Locke Alderson. He's a career consultant. He's been in the recruiting business for a number of years. And he's going to talk about how to use LinkedIn for job hunting, strategies that get results. So Locke, thank you for being with us, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Jeff. You're going to share the screen, and I'm going to try and...
Nope, you should be good to go. We see your LinkedIn profile.
Well, what am I doing wrong?
You want to shrink it down a little bit, maybe? Do you want to? Because it's really, it could be one of your slides. No, it's your LinkedIn feed. Oh, well, maybe start from the beginning. There we go. Now we see it better. So now you just want to hit F, press F5. Or, yeah, there you go. Slideshow from the beginning. Now you're good to go.
Okay. Well, I'm going to get that. So I'm out of the way, Jeff. There is my bio up there, as Jeff mentioned. I'm privileged to work with Jeff, and I've known him for, at least a dozen years now that we worked together. And I've been in recruiting, was in recruiting and HR for about 42 years, had my own firm for 12 of those years, did consulting, contract work, also did, starting in 2001, I started working with our church in a networking group and taught 15 8-week seminars on how to go about the job hunting process. And that led to, in 2013, I was tapped by Mullen International, an outplacement firm out of New York. Would they like to try that on contract for 90 days? And that 90 days lasted for 4 years and 90 days before Mullen sold out to Lee Heck Harrison. A month later, after I'd been laid off, I was hired by Alderson for about 2 years. And finally, they hung it up from them at about the end of December 2019. But I'm still working with those in job and career transition. LinkedIn is probably the #1 tool that recruiters use, and we want to talk about that. But before we do, I want to share with people that Scripture and knowing verses from Scripture have been helpful to me through my times of unemployment and looking for a job. This one happens to be from Jeremiah 29:11. It says, "For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." And again, verses like that help me when I get a little bit discouraged in the job hunt and in the process that we are now. So I'll go ahead and go to the next screen. But why LinkedIn? And we're going to talk about your profile and how you go about using that and work your headline and open to work section, the dashboard and about section. The about section used to be called the summary, your professional work history, your skills and endorsements, and how do you go about optimizing your profile? Again, that's important because if LinkedIn is going to be your source of finding a job, you want to get found by others. And that's part of the purpose that you have. It's a vital part of that. Your goal is to appear in the first screen or two. A first screen, that's about 10 thumbnail sketches of biographical information about you. And we'll show you what that looks like as well. But then I'll want to look at how do recruiters go about searching, because it's important to know what they're looking for so you can kind of tailor your profile to meet what they're looking for. And then some homework for you at the end. But LinkedIn, as I mentioned, is the ณ์1 tool that's used by recruiters and hiring managers. Probably 93% of recruiters use it, whether they're paying for a subscription, like Kurt Vandemotter pays for LinkedIn Recruiter. He spends about $20,000 for two seats on that for him and his partner, Paula Calise, to use that. And we'll use a screenshot from him as well. There's a Recruiter Lite, and no Midge Duncan that I work with in another networking group. She has Recruiter Lite. She only pays about $6,000 a year for that site license or seat license. But most recruiters don't even pay for that. They just use it as a free service like you do to find candidates. And it was originally started as a networking tool among sales and marketing professionals. Recruiters quickly found out that people shared more than just the information about them. They shared some of their background, and that made it a good recruiting tool. One individual who's used recruiting said, LinkedIn has been an irreplaceable tool in my job search. The ability to show employers the exact experience and skills that I have on my profiles ultimately landed the job. I know, having worked with candidates, they've said with the information that I've shared with them helped them land the interview, which ultimately landed in their job. But it all starts with your profile. Again, your profile is the first thing that people see, and that's basically it. They see an abbreviated version of that. If you notice, then you've got my background photo here, our banner shot. You can use that for a number of things, and we'll talk about that. Jeff has one in his. I have to back up because my touch screen is very sensitive. There's a headshot of me that my wife happened to take. You can also take selfies. If you do take a selfie, make sure that there's no glare in it, and also make sure that if you're a guy, a shirt and tie is a good idea, not the ones where you're lifting a stein for Oktoberfest. I've also listed in my name, the name that I currently go by. My actual legal name is John Locke Alderson Jr. And I like to play with the telemarketers when they call and ask for John Alderson. And I say, which one? And they say, senior. And I say, well, unfortunately, he passed away about 20 years ago. So again, which name do you want to be used by? Make it easy for that recruiter or hiring manager to know what to call you. It's just removing an obstacle from there. Underneath that is your headline. You've got about 220 characters to play with there. This one has about 120 in it. So I've expanded, and we'll look at that. I'm open to work, but only to recruiters here. And we'll talk about open to work and the different options there in a little bit. Again, that allows you to list some other things that are there. The photo needs to, as I say, have a plain background, be no glare, have a clear shot of who you are. I've seen some, and I guess Jeff in his presentation shows one of Gail Houston, who's an expert at job hunting. Hers with her husband is kind of cloudy. And it also, Gail is one of those names where you can have male or female attached to it. So she's in the picture with her husband. So it's not sure who she is unless you happen to know Gail. But you want to complete your LinkedIn profile to obtain all-star rating. They used to have a pie chart on LinkedIn that shows that status of how much you'd completed. I think the most you could ever get completed was about 95% on that. You want to have a professional headshot, and you can have a banner, a background shot, can do different things with that. I know Jeff has got his contact information in and his banner photo. You want to have a headline. What's the job title of the position you're applying for? If you don't put one in, it's going to default to the last title that you had in your employment section. Open to work, which is the banner underneath that, or that horseshoe banner from about 5 o'clock around to 9 o'clock. It allows you to list some additional job titles that recruiters happen to search on. Complete the about section. It's your summary. It's an overview of your career using keywords from your profession. Contact information. Unlike Jeff, he says, put it in your profile. I like to have it at the top of the profile because if I'm not directly linked to somebody, I may not have any way to get in touch with you. If I'm a second-degree connection or a third-degree connection, again, I can't reach out to you, particularly if you've used your security settings to not open up that to your phone number and your email address. Your experience section, you want to list your job title. If you happen to have an unusual job title, like some companies use titles like Member of Technical Staff 3, describe what it is in generally accepted terms in the industry. So it's easy to recognize and put it in parentheses. A description of your duties and the results. Those results can add credibility to your experience. And use keywords from your profession. It shows that you're a professional and know what you're doing. Skills from your profession and endorsements. Education and award, certification, and professional development. A lot of the profiles, a lot of resumes I've looked at over the years simply talk about when you got your degree. They don't tell what you've done to keep current in your profession. Those professional development things, even like LinkedIn or some of the courses that LinkedIn now offers, you can get certification in some of those. Recommendations from coworkers and former bosses. This is kind of like letters of reference. And if you include those, it's easy for somebody to check out who you are, what you've done. And you want to have a couple, if you can, from your most recent assignment. Again, what do you see when you look at my profile? In this particular one, you see a background photo here. This is a different one, again, from a cruise that I won in the Caribbean. I'm open to work in this particular one, that banner from about 5 o'clock around to about 9 o'clock. It allows you to have some things down here. And it's open to all LinkedIn members as opposed to open to just recruiters. And you have that option of what to do, whether you want to open to LinkedIn members, all of them, or just open to LinkedIn recruiters. Okay. But that says some different things in that. I happen to use a pipe character here to divide things. If you do that, and that's a shift key above the enter key on your keyboard. Again, if you do that, be sure and leave a blank space on either line, either side of the pipe character or a backslash, because if you don't, and those are linked together or run together, that term consultant career coach is not a searchable term. So it won't show up on somebody's search. And again, this is the first impression of you. Think about when you meet somebody. I know when I took a detour of my career to go into sales, my boss said to me, make sure that you're dressed right, you look professional. Again, be sure that you act well when you go in, because people are going to make a decision about you in the first 30 seconds they see you. Again, whether to listen to your presentation or not. Again, your first impression on LinkedIn is a visual one. So you want it to be professional looking and attract their attention, because that's what you're trying to do, that first impression. Well, let's take a look at some sample headlines. Again, I'll see if I can move that out of the way. Oh, it doesn't go. Unemployed or retired are okay. They're probably truthful, but they aren't the most positive ways to present yourself. Again, you can use another one like seeking a new opportunity. Again, more information about that, but it doesn't tell really what you're looking at. And there can be hundreds of profiles that people look at. And I know if I look for an executive assistant here in the Dallas area, there are 40,000 people there. Same with project managers or design engineers. There's a lot of people in just one area. Formerly VP of Finance is okay. It tells somebody who was probably in an executive position, but they aren't there anymore. And that always raises a red flag for recruiters or hiring managers. What does the formerly mean? How long have they been out of work? Experienced digital design engineer seeking a new opportunity. This creates the impression that somebody's employed, that they work as a digital design engineer, and are open. But again, it doesn't give it gives more detail, but not a lot of detail. This is a more descriptive one. Social media strategies and content managers seeking a new opportunity. They have experience in print and digital media. PR, which is an abbreviation for public relations, is generally accepted and known. Marketing and corporate communications, more descriptive. And again, a lot of these are short just to appear on the screen. Supply chain, procurement, and purchasing. Again, pretty descriptive of what somebody does. It doesn't go into a lot of detail. So some can be short. It's better to have a little bit longer and more descriptive. Senior accountant, again, probably 30,000, 40,000 in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. General ledger, GL, accounts receivable, AR, AP are also abbreviations that you could use. Cost accounting. Again, I mentioned that executive assistant by adding a couple other words like budgeting and event planning, kind of differentiates this person from a number of the others. IT project manager for recruiters who work with IT folks, as I did when I was with Oracle and with Siebel Corporation. Again, ITIL and Scrum Master and Agile are all buzzwords that are very important to IT recruiters. And general manager, manufacturing, aerospace, again, narrows it down to somebody at an executive level in manufacturing and aerospace industry. So that's a way to do that. Recruiters like to have people who have done the job before, so they'll target specific titles and use traditional titles if you've done that kind of work. Well, let's take a look at something else. This is something that somebody else shared with me about a year ago, and this allows you to do add things to your headline. Again, start with an adjective like accomplished or award-winning or certified if you have a certification, and then add titles that are there. And what value do you bring, specialized in or focused on, and an example. Okay, I took mine. This is my old headline. If you take a look at that, nothing wrong with that. Again, and amplified it. This one shows, again, using some adjectives to describe what I've done. There is a service called, it's Share Through. And if those of you are interested, I'll share that with you in an email. Again, you can test your headline and see how it rates. I know when the first one I did had a 75% overall rating. For engagement, it was 77%, but only 55% for impression. When I changed it to the second one, the overall score only went up slightly, but the impression score went up by about 50%. So it makes a difference on what you share in something like this. There are other descriptive headlines that you can use. Again, if you're interested in the presentation, the slide deck, just send me an email and I'll be happy to send it to you. But you can see how those describe some of the things that you've done. Even that Agile Scrum Master, able to explain high tech to customers. I know when I was in consulting with Oracle and with Siebel, again, it was important for those consultants to be able to explain the software to the business managers of the companies they were working with. Business analysts, again, bridges the gap between techies and management, explain the technical terminology and what it does to management. Again, that helps to sell the product. Again, open to work, I've mentioned that before. This is the banner that you see there under my headline, under my headshot that's there. What it does is allow you to open up to add additional things. In this case, I could add executive recruiter, professional recruiter. You can add up to 5 different titles that are there. You can see those when I started to type in career. Again, different opportunities there. The opportunities to share where you want to work. If you're still interested in working remote or working hybrid, that you only want to go into the office a couple of days a week, you can indicate that. And likewise, if you're open to relocation, this is a place where you can show where you're open to moving, okay, adding a location. Again, you can notice that I'm actively applying. What's your status right now? I'm casually browsing. Okay, what you want to do. So that's the open to work section. I do encourage it for people. Again, you can open it up. I know there's a couple of people on a Zoom meeting today that are working primarily with headhunters or executive recruiters, and they may limit the views to just the recruiting professionals who subscribe to that. Okay. Okay. Your dashboard is another area that you can work with. Again, it's now called your analytics, I believe, as your dashboard. It shows how many people have looked at my profile in the last week or 90 days, how many posts I have. I did post this meeting today on LinkedIn and on another group meeting, and I've appeared in 160 search appearances. This is the first thing. This is the idea where they click open your profile again and take a look at that from the search. You can also post on yet in the features section. You can post your resume. I posted some of the presentations I've done. The PowerPoint presentations are listed there. I need to update that because some of these were done in 2023. I think was the last time I have done some of these. So I need to update this slide. But that's one way that you do it. My son, who's a motion graphic designer, has got his reel. If you're in advertising, you could have a portfolio that you put in there with a sample of your work. I mentioned search appearances. You can click on that. When you do click on search appearances, it'll show the term that the recruiters use, or the person who entered the search used. In my case, they've used recruiter, and it's hard to know with me being a recruiter whether they're looking for me as a recruiter to help them find a job, or they were looking for a recruiter position. But also when you do that, it will indicate where those companies tend to work, where those people tend to work. Okay. And they can be target companies for you. They may not even have openings right now, but they may have jobs like you that match your background. Okay. The about section, I mentioned that before. This one happens to have the contact information. What have I done, Jeff?
Everything looks okay. You're still going.
Okay. This one has the information. It's a little longer than most. Again, it's normally thought of when you do something like that. Long paragraphs are not the ideal way to do it. 3 or 4 sentences, or 3 or 4 lines at most. But he does have the contact information at the top, making it easy for me to contact you, particularly if we're not first degree connections. If we're second or third degree, it's often difficult to get hold of somebody. We have that. I know I've worked with somebody and they said they don't want to put their phone number down. At least put your contact information so that people can reach out to you. This one is particularly long, as I said, but it's got some of the buzzwords from this guy's profession. He's a finance and operations guy. Really, he's a specialist in financial planning and analysis. He spelled it out here. The acronym is there. When you have an unusual acronym like that, it's often good to spell it out the first time that you use it. I know AMA is American Management Association, but it's also American Motorcycle Association or American Medical Association. So again, spell those out the first time that you use them. The about section can also be in a first person. I'm having trouble, Jeff. Okay, this is some other summaries where they've used first person. This particular one is in first person. They're talking about their experience at Disney World down in Florida. But they've mentioned who they are. They're working with award-winning companies as a coach and leadership development professional. They've had key competencies or their skills, or mentioned their executive coaches and training, and where they've worked, the relevant experience. So this is a way to summarize that. And as many times as you can mention some of these things, you can mention it multiple times like that. Again, you want to keep the paragraph short for the most part. 2 or 3 lines is a good idea. And add more contact information as well. Okay, moving on to your experience section. This particular one shows my experience off of my particular profile. Again, the job title, the dates, and company name. Okay, your duties and responsibilities, limit them to 3 to 5 lines. Again, long paragraphs like that tend not to get read. And bullet the areas of accomplishment or expertise. In this particular one, I've identified a couple of bulleted accomplishments that I had when I was with Oracle Corporation. I also included a farewell note from the director of recruiting for Oracle Corporation when I left. Again, it says something about me. It's kind of personal, but also gives some indication of the relationship I had with Amanda. Well, that's one way that you can do that. Okay. They've also allowed you to add other sections to your profile now. If you're not working right now, you want to add a current position, even if that current position means that you're looking for a job, which is what this candidate was. Again, they mentioned that they're a software developer. They're looking for a full-time opportunity. They're searching within the financial services industry, and they're interested in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. As you started to fill in the information, Dallas, there's some artificial intelligence with the drop-down menu, and you can click on those. You can also, if you've been a lot in project work, I mentioned hiring software consultants when I was with Oracle and with Siebel. A lot of the resumes I got from them, and at least one of the resumes I looked at from a workshop that I'm helping conduct at our church, her resume was 8 pages long. And she had a page for each of the major projects that she'd worked on. And you can include that in there, even as a project that has the dates, the name of the project, the dates, and you can have your creator, and you can go into a lot of description about what you were doing in that particular situation. But it's helpful for those people who've had experience that's project-based. Again, moving on down the profile list, your skills and endorsements is the next area. Again, the skills are listed here, and you can click on these or type them in. If you start to type it in this section right there where the cursor is, and it's not one of the recognized job titles, it will not allow you to enter it. Or you can simply go down here and click on one of these, and it will allow you to enter that. You can enter up to 50. LinkedIn will select for you if you don't do any selection. select the ones that it feels appropriate for you. Those may not be who you are or who you want to convey or what you want to do. So what you can do is, if you click on that, there's 3 dots out here with your skills. When you get to that, you click on those dots and it will allow you to arrange those profile settings. I have 50 in mind. That's showing there: executive search, consulting, and talent acquisition. If I click on that, I can move over here to the 4 lines, hold my cursor down and drag and drop up or down for each of those. The 99 that's shown there is the endorsements that people give me. Used to be LinkedIn allowed you to endorse people real easily with a check mark. They did away with that because it got to be kind of a joke. And when you do that, you can rearrange the skills to support that. And it's good to once in a while go in and rearrange them, because your activity on LinkedIn is one of those categories that gives you points or values when they do a LinkedIn search. Okay, I guess the next section you want to look at optimizing your resume is looking at other people. And you might ask, well, why would I want to look at other people? And one of the reasons, if you do a search for yourself, like a recruiter in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I would show up usually when I was active at Oracle Corporation, I would show up in the first 2 pages because I was active almost daily on LinkedIn using it as a tool. In this case, there are 26,000. When I've done another search, it's been as high as 36,000 recruiters have recruiter in their profile. And if you're not showing up in the first 10 pages, that's 100 thumbnail sketches that you see there. Again, you might want to pop open some of the profiles and see what the wording is that they're using. If it's not in yours, you may want to incorporate some of that wording in your own profile. See if it doesn't improve your ranking when searches are done. This just happens to be a profile of somebody when I looked at. She's open to work. She's added an additional 5 titles. She's, in addition to recruiter, she's mentioned talent acquisition specialist, partner. Again, business partner is another one that people often use in recruiting and HR as well. Well, that's a way that you can become known. So how do you use LinkedIn for job hunting? Okay. Again, we want to take a look at that. How does LinkedIn actually run a search? How do recruiters search? And there is some differences there. And what are some recruiter research roles? And how do you use it for searching for jobs? That's kind of the next section that we want to take a look at. And how to recruiter search. As I mentioned, you get a score for each section of your profile, including your activity on LinkedIn. Your search ranking is based on the sum of these values. The higher scores appear at the top of the list of search results when a recruiter does it or hiring manager does a search. The next area that they look at, they first look for a match of as many matches as they can. Job titles in your current and past jobs, your headline, your open to work section, your about section, and your employment section. They look for job titles because that's the #1 search tool they rely on. If they've done the work in the past, more likely that's kind of what you're looking for in the future. And that's where your strengths lie. That's what people are going to pay for, your expertise. Keywords and skills. Again, that's another area that recruiters look at, and we'll take a look at some search results in a second. Industries that you've worked for. If you worked in the healthcare industry, you know that that's a pretty incestuous type industry. I'll use that word judiciously. But again, people, if they're looking for people that have experience in healthcare, it's tough to break into that field. I've only known of a few people that I've worked with over the years that have made the change from other industries into healthcare. Education, again, is important. I know I went on jobs, applied for a job, and they were looking for an MBA from a top 10 business school in the United States. And I happened to have gone to University of California at Berkeley for my master's degree in business. Geographic location. Most jobs tend to be located within a 25, recruiters look within a 25-mile radius of where the job is located. There are some other jobs that are open that require travel or you're willing to travel further. Usually those are more professional type positions. But a geographic location is important. And you'll notice that when you do a search, the default setting for distance is usually 25 miles. Current and prior companies. Again, if I'm looking for a company and I'm trying to steal from my competitor, again, I know when I was working with Siebel Corporation, I got my wrist slapped and a memo sent down from our legal department at Siebel not to contact people at Oracle directly about jobs. And I guess I got an attaboy from Tom Siebel for that, but I was told to cease and desist when searching for Oracle people. Then recruiters look at your summary. So that's kind of the process that they go through and looking and doing that. But let's take a look at how this is a screenshot from Kurt Venemotter from Recruiter software license that he has. He has 3 screens like this where he can enter data. At this time, when it was done that, there were about 710 million people in LinkedIn. There are now over 850 million people on LinkedIn. About 200 million of those are in the United States. But these are the fields that he can search on. When you do that, he can narrow that 710 million down to about 70 within about 30 seconds. So let the computer do the hard lifting. Well, let's take an actual look at our results from a search. This was a recruiter search. He was looking for a product manager in Seattle, and where this job was located. And he was looking for product marketing, product management. The touchscreen is very sensitive. Notice that he's looking for companies in the Seattle area like Microsoft, Amazon, and Fluke. Again, schools that he addressed were University of Washington, which happens to be headquartered in Seattle. At this point, there were 6,900 candidates. Again, some of those have company affiliations where they're following the company, and some of them actually engaged in more detail. Keep me browsed to your public relations releases from the company. So that's what happened in this particular search. Okay. This particular search was for a project manager in Chicago. Again, they were taking people from either coast, San Francisco or New York. And we're looking for business strategy and analytics, but these were some of the other things that they were looking at. Okay. There were 43,000 people in the search, but only of those open to work or open to new opportunities, there were only 83. As a recruiter, those would probably be the ones that I would take a look at first. Okay. And then I'll look who are following your companies. Okay. These are other areas that people search for. Again, they were looking for people possibly from Google or Facebook, Evernote, LinkedIn, and others. Northwestern is a school just north of Chicago area. Those of you aren't familiar with the geography. Well, let's take a look at searching for you. In this particular case, there are two ways that you can do it. Up on the top bar, there's a toolbar. There's a box that you can search on. Generally, if you happen to search it, go click on jobs. It offers you a toolbar with two search options: search jobs and search location. Search job, you can enter the job title, the company name, or a different number of ways that you can find things. You can search by location. If you don't fill something in the search location and haven't been searching in a given area like Dallas, it's going to fill it in with the United States. It's going to default to the United States. So let's take a look at an actual search. This one is, again, because it didn't enter a code there for the location, sales reps in the United States. And in this case, there are almost 200,000 sales reps. Again, that's probably too many. The recruiter needs to go in and refine their search. Okay. Again, if you notice this particular job right here, you can move this down. This is an actual description, and you can scroll through this part of the description over here about the job. This one had a very low base salary, even though it was full-time. Probably had a good bonus structure with it as well. But there were almost 200,000 jobs available. So you want to narrow that kind of a search down. The next thing you could do, again, narrow it down to 25 miles. That's the default setting that I mentioned. This was for a senior accountant in Plano. Again, this particular situation, the job is described over on the right. You have all the information there, but in this case, there were about 144 results. Again, one of the things that you do want of this, that line, whether you see the 25 miles, is a line of filters that you can use. There's a line over here at the top where it says all filters. And when you click on that, it usually is the right third of a screen. Now, this is an old screenshot which shows all of the filters, but you can do filters. One of the things I suggest for everybody is to narrow it down to the first past week or the last 3 days, because a lot of people will respond to jobs quickly, and you want to get in first so that you'll be there. It used to be when you mail in resumes, you want to get a resume in first in the mail or in last, because then it appeared on the top of the stack or not the bottom. And again, that's a way they can do it for unusual type positions. I've got an individual in a workshop I'm teaching on Thursdays. She has a master's degree in marine mammalogy. That's marine animals like whales and porpoises and seals. Okay, there are 3 aquariums here in the Dallas area, and there are no jobs available for somebody with her background. So I found a possible job for her as a research technician in the biology department of the University of Texas at Dallas to explore. The salary area is something that LinkedIn has picked up from Indeed.com, which is probably the other best job board that's out there today. The other area that's mentioned there, some of the jobs will have an easy to apply feature. If you might want to think about that before you do it. If the easy apply allows you to upload a resume, I would say go ahead. Otherwise, you want to supply a resume to the company website. Another area that you can notice down here is the type of job. Most jobs on most job boards are going to be permanent full-time positions. There are a number of contract positions for the recruiter because recruiters often float from one job to another. Some are part-time positions, some are internships. Usually those are for people in school. I know my granddaughter is down at Baylor. She's got an internship this summer in sales for the company. So a lot of schools have internships or summer jobs like that. But you can see some are temporary as well. You can notice location. That's easy to help you locate. If you lived in Plano or Allen, you may not want to go all the way to Garland for a position. And again, it can list the company and also list the industry that it is. But that's a filter that you can have by that. There's also a filter up here that says if you find that is to clear or to, which takes you back to your original search for a recruiter in Dallas County. Again, looking for other jobs. And this particular one was, I did a presentation for the American Quality Association here in Dallas about a year ago and listed a quality, senior quality. Again, that's not very specific. It had about 1,900 results in the past week. And you notice that I had highlighted to the past week. Again, in this particular situation, by adding manager, we narrowed the search, just added that down. Now, the senior quality will add all of those manager positions, but if I'm looking for a managerial position by adding manager to the title, the search box, it narrowed it down to 174 positions. Okay, executive assistant, I mentioned again, starting in Dallas, starting to type in Dallas. Again, the drop-down menu allows that, but remember there are other places called Dallas. There's a Dallas, Oregon, and there's a Dallas, Georgia. And you have to be specific in that situation. One additional thing that LinkedIn allows you to do is create a job alert. It's a box that's right here, and by clicking on this, taking the radio button from left to right, it allows you to do that. If you do that, it allows you to select daily or weekly, and you'll get thumbnail sketches of the job daily or weekly that are open, new positions that are listed like that. Again, they come in usually about 8 in the morning, 7 to 8 in the morning. So they're there when you open up your email in the morning. Okay, we're finally getting down to narrowing it down. We're talking about that. Again, some homework for you. You want to take a look at your profile and complete each section that you can. Again, use the name you normally use or that you want to be called by. Make it easier on that recruiter or hiring manager to how to address you. The headline, again, list the job title or titles of the positions you're looking for. Not including a headline, again, defaults to your last job title in your employment section. Complete the open to work section. You can limit it if you're in stealth mode. You can limit it to just recruiters if you want. Let them know you're open to opportunities. Do list your phone number on the top line or the first line of your about section. One or the other. Again, it makes it easy for people to reach out to you, particularly if they're not first degree connections. Your experience section, list company names, job titles, and duties, and measurable results if you can for performing those duties. They add credibility to your experience. Keywords and skills from your profession. If you don't know what they are, look in the job postings that you're looking for. Those are the requirements or the qualifications that are often mentioned there. Do a people search on yourself with your title and your name in your geographic area. If you don't show up in those first 10 screens, that's about 100 thumbnail sketches. Again, you may want to open some of those profiles and take a look at what some of the wording is and use it for yourself. If you want the presentation, it's lockealderson@gmail.com, and I'll turn it back. I'll see if I can do a new share, and we'll switch, Jeff.
Okay. Great information.
Okay.
That is really, really big. So I don't know if you can shrink that down. Not sure.
I think it's this one. Is that it?
Yep, there you go. Looks great.
Okay, we worked it out today, Jeff.
Yeah. I think after a couple of years, we'd figure this out.
Yeah, I know. I'm a techie novice. Okay. Okay. I'm looking at my profile, and I'll go through that kind of quickly. I'm open. Again, it's asking me to open up and show recruiters that I've opened, but I've decided not to do that. Again, there's my profile, and you can notice I've appeared in 67 search appearances. Actually, people have popped open my profile without just appearing in searches, which is a good thing for me. I've got the about section that's there. Again, these are the 3 lines that show up in your about section if we're not directly linked, okay? And I don't know why it's not showing the rest of me there, but it's not for today. Again, but I've got Let's Connect and my email address, okay, if those of you don't want. The other thing that I'll notice there, the activity section, I've listed this presentation. It's got my presentation. Another thing I want to show you on the career section, if you've had multiple jobs at one company, it will link them. Getting to my Oracle section. That's what this line out to the side is. It's there for Oracle, okay? And by clicking on that, it took it back. Okay. List my history all the way back. You can list because you've got about 2,600 characters in your about section. You can do that. But one of the things I wanted to show you is how you, okay. Your skills section, I mentioned that. When I do the blue pencil over here, the black pencil, and it will show up in just a second. Those are the 3 dots that I mentioned. The reorder is there. And by holding these on cursor, recruiting, I can move that to the top. So when I go back and look at that, the next time it move recruiting to the top of my list of 3 skills, because these are what show up unless somebody clicks to see more. Okay, Jeff,
nobody clicks on see more.
Nobody clicks on see more. They don't. Recruiters, I won't say are lazy, but they tend to be very proficient and efficient. Try to limit their skill searches to other things. Do we have somebody who wants to try a search, Jeff, and we can do that for them or their name?
You want us either to look at your profile, we'd be glad to pop your profile up, or if you want us to look for a company, give us a job title of what you're looking for, and we will go search for something. Just put it in the chat window, if you will.
We'll look at profiles, or we will look for a job for you. This happened to be, I was looking for somebody that I'm working with in another workshop. Again, they speak Korean very fluently. English is definitely a second language, and he's having trouble finding a job because he's not very proficient with English right now.
Anybody wants to look at their profile? Here we go. Look at Kathy Monroe. Monroe. And let's see here.
What I'm going to do, Jeff, is to go to jobs and see if we can. Over here with jobs, what I do, I'm going to look for people now, and now we're going to look for Kathy. Which Kathy are we looking for?
Kathy, unmute your mic. Let us know. Do you see yourself there?
No, I do not. I am a compliance specialist in Atlanta.
Okay.
Hey, why don't we do a Boolean search here? No, that's not it. Whoop, go back. Go back.
Close that one out, Jeff. I was looking at that earlier. Okay.
Oh, okay.
You've stopped. You've taken it off. You've taken over the screen.
You want no? You want me to do it? I'll pop. Let's see.
Okay, go ahead and do it, Jeff.
Okay, let's see here. Let me go find. Let's go here and share and just make it big. Let's go LinkedIn. And we're going to go search for Kathy, Kathymonroe. And we're going to do a Boolean search, AND.
I'm the third one. Yeah, I was the third one, I think.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, right?
No, try the second one. That looks like me. Leader in compliance. That's me.
That's you? Okay. Alpharetta, Georgia. Okay. So here we go. Locke, tell us what you want to tell us about.
Open her, Jeff, open her contact information first. Okay. Now, if I were a recruiter, unless you've got your contact information somewhere else, your phone number and your email address, I'm not going to be able to contact you.
Okay,
And that's
So
because we're a third degree connection. Only
Right.
first degree connections get to see everything.
No, wait a minute, but she does have her email address in the top of her about section, Jeff. So
I
could
just added it during this conversation. I was like, oh crap, I don't have that. So
Some
I
people-
added it.
Some people put it, I know Jeff, when he does his presentation, has it in the middle of his about section, but he also has it in his banner headline at the top. So
Okay, so maybe add it to the banner headline.
you could do that too. You could, more time, more.
Or you don't want it, don't put it up here. All right, either it needs to be up in the banner itself,
Okay,
or, I mean, this
Right
is
there.
great. By doing this right here, you've made it easy for a recruiter to reach out to you.
By having it, you can have it in multiple places. Again, but again, when they look at your about section, they're only going to see the first 3 lines there, three or 4 lines. That may be all that they can see. And what you're
Okay.
trying to do is to get them to click through. But the more
Yeah.
clicks you're asking them to make, the less likely they're going to make them.
okay,
All right, so let's see here, detail orient. Quite frankly, everybody's detail oriented, everybody's results driven.
okay.
So what
Give
else can you use that,
Or give an example that show that you're results driven.
Okay,
right,
Otherwise, it can be
great.
considered
No.
fluff.
okay.
Think when you think
and
fluff, think of cotton
you want to
candy.
write this in first person. You want to make it friendly. How can I help your company? What can I do to reach out? Please feel free to reach out to me. You can spiff it up some more.
Okay,
All right, so currently working at UPS, that means you wear brown every day?
no, I don't work there anymore. I'm actually, I was laid off 6
Oh,
months ago.
okay. Yeah, April 2023, okay. Successfully
What you could
launched,
do is you can add a current position as looking for a job and what kind of, as a compliance met procurement position, that you're looking for a job in procurement or possibly logistics or supply chain, and where you're looking for, that you're open to the United States or you want to stay in Atlanta.
Okay,
Thank
I
you.
have seen other people do that. So that's something I could do and just call it open to work, right?
Well, you can call it open to work, but you want it in the experience section because LinkedIn does give a value for a current job. When they see that you were out of work in 2020, in April of this year, again,
Mhm.
you want to count as many as you can. Okay.
I'm just going to show you if I can find this person real quick. Let's see here, Kim. I got to think about, there was somebody who did that and it looked really good. And I was going to show people what you could do for a current job right now. So what you want to
Yeah,
do for a
Yeah, I
current
have a
job?
friend who's done that. So, okay,
Yeah.
Our
So for a
sense,
current job, you want to list 2 or 3 job titles right here in the new job. Underneath the company name, put your phone number and or email address. And then you list,
or you can put the industry that you're looking at, Jeff.
right. Oh, Kim Jones, that's what it is. Thank you. Kim Jones, here we go. So I'll pop this up real fast. You'll be able to see what he did for his. So he's currently looking, and let's see here. So his experience. So he just put down here a couple job titles. He put down, 1 lot. So this is the company field right here. Personally, I like for people to put a phone number and email address because once again, you've made it easy for a recruiter to go, oh, they must be looking for a job. Let me call them up. They put in, the date whenever the last job, and then he lists some successes that he's had,
okay,
who he is, what he's done, what his passion is. And then let's discuss how I can help your company down here. So, then when he gets a current job, he'll just take this off his profile.
Right. No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, I had some friends who just did that recently and I was like, what are y'all doing? So I'm glad you explained it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Education, I won't hold this against you. I'm a U of L fan, so I won't hold being a UK fan against you.
That's okay. My husband is U of L, so
Oh my gosh, you must have a heck of a war every time they play basketball.
we do, but so far I've won pretty much
Ah.
all the time, so it's not been too bad.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah.
Let's see here, licenses and certificate and things, skills. So once again, nobody's going to open up the 41 skills. Are these the two most important skills you want to have?
Right. I did notice that and I took note. I've got to go back and fix that.
Okay.
And then
And
yeah, this is bad. I got to figure that out. How do you,
right,
so
you need some current recommendations. You need a couple of them from the last couple years. I think I did hear somebody say, if you still know Jennifer, if you reached out to her and asked her, hey, Jennifer, could you go and add a space at the very end after the exclamation point? That would update the date on this. And
Okay.
then you can repost it. I think that may work.
Jeff, I've done a reposting. Somebody I counseled as a career consultant back in 2020. And worked with him again this spring, and he updated. I asked him to update his the recommendation, and he did so. So it's a current recommendation.
Yeah, so if
Okay,
you still know
perfect.
Jennifer, you could get her to just, add something, add one more line, add a word, and that would, then when you repost it, it would be current.
And so when you ask people for recommendations, do you send it through LinkedIn, or is there some way to send it from your profile, or is it just you?
You can send them a message when you click on their photo and it comes up. You have the option to send them a message
Okay.
at the top of your screen to their picture. There's usually
Right. And then just ask them to complete a recommendation for me. Got it.
Or, if it's a past manager and it's somebody's already written it. I mean, sometimes you sort of want to write it for them. And
I was going to ask that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I did this for somebody who I'm currently doing a little bit of work for. I wrote them, here's something I'm looking for. If you can, modify it however you like, but here's just a few bullet points I'd like you to talk about. And at least they gave that person a starting point of what to do. They changed a couple things, but for the most part, they kept it the way it was. They really didn't modify anything. So
Got it.
yeah,
you should proofread what they send back to you. Make sure that there's no typos in it.
Okay.
Right. Mark asked a really good question. Is there an advantage to subscribe to premium?
Okay, I have tried premium in the past because I have about 6,000 people that I'm linked to first degree. I don't find it necessary. Try it for 30. You can try it free for 30 days, but by day 27, day 28, you make a decision whether you want to keep it or not. All that I've found that it does is open up a few more connections to you that you can reach out to people without having to send them the in-mail. And it does give you 10 free, I think it's 10 free in-mails.
I'll send
Yes,
just write a
that'd
little
be
short
great.
note to Kathy so we can connect. Now, I will tell you this, LinkedIn, as of October 1st, changed the rules for the free account. You can only send 10 personal notes, like I just did, per month on LinkedIn with the free account. Why did they do this? They did this not to penalize us, job seekers. They did this to penalize recruiters who are using the free version and just will go and send 10 in-mails or 10 connection requests with people that they may be interested in.
Excuse me, Jeff,
Yes,
that's been reversed.
it already has been reversed.
Yep.
Okay, I haven't seen the email that tells me that yet, but that'd be great if that's been reversed.
That's what I've heard. A couple people. I don't know if you know Ken Lang.
I'm not familiar.
Okay, he's a big he does a LinkedIn Live every week and is big in LinkedIn, and he's connected with them, and several people who's connected pushed back, and they did get it changed as of last Friday.
Okay, well, hot news. That's really
And I
good.
heard it on a couple different different places too, not just him.
Great. Thank you very much for that.
Yep.
Let's see here. Scott says he would like to look for a job. So any other comments for Kathy's profile? Locke, any other comments?
No, I think she's got a pretty good looking profile. Again, it's something that you want to tweak. Any activity, you can go in and make changes. Oh, one of the thing, you go into your settings, and when you do that, there's a setting in there that says, do you want to have this go to everybody? When you make any changes, you want to turn that off for while
Right.
you make any changes, and then after you're done making your changes, you can turn it back on. It's in your privacy settings over under your, when you click on me.
Thank you.
Also,
Thanks,
the other thing you also want to turn off is this people also viewed. Because by default, LinkedIn turns on 10 people who are just like you. You don't want to promote that. So in your privacy and settings, look for people also viewed, turn that off. That way you won't be promoting other people who do sort of what you do.
Okay.
That gives recruiters just an opportunity to make a call list.
Right,
Okay.
right.
If you said you had one that wanted to look for a job.
Yeah, yep, let's go look for a job here. So we're gonna go, let's go to the job tab. And they are looking for a project, PROJECT.
Notice there's some,
Project manager.
use
Hi,
manager.
Locke, this is Scott. I would just wanted to see who else comes up in your search of the word project manager.
Okay, notice that Jeff has not put in a location, so it defaults to the United States.
Dallas, Fort Worth.
So you always want to pick the bigger area, Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex. And
There's 1,650 jobs available, but again, it's not limited by date. I would go in and narrow it down to the last week.
takes it down to 580. What kind of experience level would you be?
Yes, experience.
Where?
Mid
Mid-
In,
senior
senior.
director?
technology or computing or mobility or phones or things like that.
Look at the what he's got on the screen.
I see. Yeah, mid senior.
Okay,
Just mid senior level?
Yeah.
Okay, so that took it down. When I tabbed on it, went from 580 down
I
to
see.
307.
you can go through that, and there are project managers. You notice this is construction industry. There are a lot of different rail project. Again, so there are different types of things. So you can add additional search terms in that. Make it a Boolean with an and, project manager and railroads, or project manager and computers.
Okay.
Scott, is that what you're looking for?
But I can do this part. What I really was wanting to see is what you saw if you typed in project manager and wanted to search people for project manager in Dallas. What do you see?
You're looking for people, or you
I
looking?
want to see if I come up in your.
Oh, okay,
See,
okay.
Go over
all
to
right.
job, Jeff, go over to jobs. Well,
Yeah,
you've done it
here, let's
differently.
Go back to people.
Yep.
And search.
Without typing my name, project with an M.
Project manager.
There we go.
And
I see.
I'm gonna put in parentheses. Dallas.
Seems up that there were, does it give a number somewhere, Jeff?
I don't see a number anywhere. Oh,
Okay.
see all people. Let's see here. Says 750.
I see.
Um,
All right. I guess I can do that too. All right. I just wanted to see what a different person.
When you do a search on jobs, that down where people is highlighted, if you use that down arrow allows you to go and search for people.
oh, right.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're just about at the top of the hour here, so I want to thank Locke. Thank you very, very much for what you've shown. Is Locke said if you'd like to get his deck, just feel free to reach out to Locke. Here's his email address. Just send him an email at lockealderson@gmail.com. We'll be glad to send you his deck. And his deck's got more information in it than what we've covered today. So I would ask Locke for it. It'd be really great. Locke, thank you very, very much.
Jeff, thanks for putting up with me again. One of these days, I'm going to work out the technology.
You know what? We're all struggling with that sometimes. Next Tuesday for LinkedIn Tuesday, our presentation will be by Terry Sullivan. He's going to talk about how to tell your key contact and prospects who you are, what you do, and how you can help. The session next Tuesday will not be recorded. So if you want to watch the event, you will need to watch Terry live next Tuesday, 1 p.m. Central. All right, if everybody will please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jeff Morris, promise to always send a personal note whenever I send a LinkedIn request to connect with anyone. This includes when I use my cell phone or my computer. Thanks to Scott for letting us know that we're no longer restricted. That's great news. Just a couple things to look for. On LinkedIn, there's white connect buttons and there's blue connect buttons. A white connect button will automatically send the generic invitation. The blue connect button will always allow you to send a personal note if you're using a laptop or a desktop computer. When you're using a mobile device, my understanding is sometimes the blue connect button sends a generic invitation. You have to click on the little 3 dots off of the side to get down to a sub menu to send that personal note. Career DFW, Career USA, we're putting on training 4 days a week. Please join us. Tomorrow, the practice interview team will be conducting an actual practice interview. You will be able to watch it live. There is no recording. We only record it for the candidates so they can go back and watch themselves. But if you'd like to watch a real practice interview tomorrow, come do that tomorrow, 1 p.m. Central Time. This Thursday, being the 4th Thursday of the month, Bob Maher will be with us to talk about taking the chill out of cold calls. Networking is networking. It's primarily calling people. It's networking with people. How do you take the chill out of making a cold call hard? We all have a tough time picking up the phone and talking to somebody. And then this Friday, as I mentioned, we have a really interesting presentation, how to use ChatGPT to improve your resume and your cover letter. So come join us this Friday morning, 9:30 Central Time. For those who live in the DFW area, come join us in person, or you can join us on Zoom or Facebook Live for those people living around the country. If you'd like to join the Career DFW or Career USA LinkedIn groups, you're welcome to join one or both. I will look at your profile. Your profile needs to be mostly complete, because if you're on LinkedIn, why are you on LinkedIn if you don't have a complete profile, mostly complete profile? Recruiters are trying to find you. Get that profile up and spend some time on it. Get it really robust. This session has been recorded. You will be able to go back and watch it on the Career DFW Facebook page or the Career USA YouTube channel. If you go to the Career USA YouTube channel, we have over 540 videos there right now. Click on playlist, because everything I post, I put into one of 7 different playlists. Pick whichever topic you want. In this case, if you want LinkedIn, down where you see that red arrow where it says view full playlist, up will come a list of all the different dates and topics. You can go back and watch whichever one is interesting to you. Please note, it'll be about 3 or 4 hours before YouTube gets this one loaded, but we will get it up there this afternoon. If you're not receiving emails about our workshops and you'd like to join the Career USA mailing list, you can either scan this QR code, it'll start a blank email. You don't have to put anything in the email at all. Just hit send, or you can send a blank email to Career USA, +, subscribe at groups.io. You'll never be spammed, but what you will get is the topic of the day, the title of the day, and most importantly, the Zoom link of the day. That way you can just open the email, click on Zoom, and join us for our next presentation. Please remember, Career DFW, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Locke is a volunteer. I'm a volunteer. Everything I've done over the last 15 years has just been to help you land your next great opportunity. So thank you for joining us today, everybody. Have a great afternoon, and we hopefully will see you later in the week. Locke, once again, thank you very much.
Thanks again, Jeff.